Right now, I have the wonderful pleasure of having Corey Thomas of AMZ Atlas with us today. How are you, Corey? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for having me, Gabby. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So please just go ahead and tell us, what is AMZ Atlas?
So AMZ Atlas is an Amazon consulting agency, and we work with brands to help them maximize their sales opportunity on Amazon and effectively manage their brand on the channel.
Okay, so how does that work exactly? So is it working with Amazon, or like you said, it's a consulting company, so it's your own? How does that work for maybe our listeners who don't know how that system operates?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's a number of different ways to kind of go to market on Amazon, and we want to be able to support all elements of that. So there's kind of a vertically integrated approach that we take to make sure that we service all the different areas of a brand's business. And then the way that they actually work with Amazon can be directly, which is through a program called Vendor Central, or is commonly referred to as like 1P within our relationship
Mm-hmm.
in our industry, where that's the brand sells on wholesale purchase orders to Amazon. Amazon just acts like a retailer to them essentially. And then there's also Amazon has a really large portion. It's actually over 50% now. That's Amazon's marketplace. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's more of what people would think of kind of like eBay almost, where they,
Okay.
these companies of all different sizes own their own inventory and sell. So Amazon has, and we support both strategies, and we have clients kind of in both places. 1P, where it's selling to Amazon, and 3P,
Mm-hmm.
where the brand owns their own inventory, and we're managing all of their kind of the sales and marketing for them on the channel.
Okay, so what would you say are the pros and the advantages of going through a company like yours versus, a business or someone trying to do it themselves?
Oh, it's a great question. And I think that it's one that we're real comfortable with, because it's a question we get all the time, is kind of the in-housing element of it. And, I guess thankfully for us as a business, but also the opportunity that's at hand, is Amazon is super nuanced. It's like not the most complicated channel on Amazon. If you get more sales and great reviews, then you tend to get more sales and more reviews. Like that's not a complex
Mm-hmm.
idea, but Amazon itself is incredibly nuanced and because of how competitive it is with
Mm-hmm.
that open marketplace, the opportunity to be successful on Amazon is not in doing the same thing that everybody else is. So you have to specialize and really look at all the details in between in that nuance. And that's where what we found in, especially really brands of almost any size, especially if you start getting into hundreds or thousands of products that they may be selling on the channel,
Mm-hmm.
there's nuance with everything from what's the aspect ratio of a photo that you can put on the product page for desktop versus mobile, to what's the type of advertising that you can use, to what's a P90 forecast through Vendor Central. It just is endless, and they're
Mm-hmm.
always constantly improving. So just 10 days ago, they released new information about their referral fees that the marketplace is going to have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
That is effective June 1st. Amazon doesn't ask for permission. It's their sandbox. They get to make the rules.
Right.
And now it's just us taking that information that we get to learn once and disseminating that to all the clients that we work with. So we're able to scale our expertise in a way that any brand on their own would have to learn the same exact things and think about all that nuance, all for their own team. But we get to do it once and then take that through all of our account managers out into the world and influence a lot of brands at scale.
Wow,
Does
yeah,
that
it
make
definitely
sense?
sounds, yeah, it does, because it sounds like you're saving a lot of time and energy for your clients, because it sounds like there's a lot to keep up with in that realm.
Absolutely. There's a tremendous amount of detail.
And so what is your favorite aspect that you do within the company and in this whole industry?
I love working with brands. Like the
Mhm.
consultant in me it is exciting to be in an industry that has tremendous tailwinds. Obviously, the last year has been unprecedented in the accelerated growth of
Right.
e-commerce in general, and Amazon's kind of the 800-pound gorilla in e-commerce. I
Mhm.
mean, it's like 80 million US households have a Prime membership. That's a giant percentage of the US population. So the opportunity is so incredible, and the momentum in e-commerce in general, accelerated by the pandemic, has been great. So we get to help brands adapt to that and capitalize on that growth. But
Mhm.
what I have found is the thing that I enjoy truly the most is kind of being a breath of fresh air through to the
Mhm.
actual details and what's truly going on, because our industry and our competitor, it's a pretty noisy space of
Mhm.
watch a YouTube video and it seems like it's all very easy on Amazon. Just throw a product up there and you'll be
Right.
successful. Like that's probably what more people hear than like the hard work that it actually takes to be successful. So we really actually like leaning into clients and unpacking things that they might not think themselves, and giving
Mhm.
them that like true kind of unadulterated truth of, you might have heard that somewhere else or tried that in the past, but maybe that's completely against Amazon's rules. Or maybe that used to be allowed 6 months ago and now it's not. Or that does work for one category, but not for your category. Like, I love that nuance in there, because then that's where our clients actually have this opportunity to be successful, is specific to their businesses. And we
And
get to
then
be the arbiter of that information. It's a lot of fun.
And that goes right into my next question. As far as, like you said, there's kind of that flexibility and everything. As far as you said, it's kind of making it for the client, telling the information they need, making it more personalized to them. How do you leverage that flexibility to think outside the box, like you said, with things changing so much in this realm, and like you said, even the times now? How do you leverage that flexibility?
Yeah, so I think that's what's really important about the team approach that we take, is that, our team is structured where we have an account manager that works with each of the brands that we work with, or our clients. And then they're actually, those account managers are backed up by our subject matter experts across each of the different areas. So our ask of our advertising team, for example, is make sure you know every moving part about advertising. But we don't need you to spend a second thinking about how to, put a product image on a product page. I'll let the catalog team handle that. So what we have is we have this layer of subject matter experts that then our account managers, that's the foundation upon which they provide consulting. And so they're essentially the greatest of everything put together, and they just get to bring the specific context to that company that they're working with. So if it's a brand in the outdoor industry or it's a brand in the pet industry, those are very different businesses with very different customers potentially, but there's a lot of consistency because they're still on the same channel and the platform that we work with. We only focus on Amazon. So it's a thing that we know inside and out, and then we translate that in a way that a company in the outdoor industry would understand, that's specific to their business, a company in the pet industry, grocery industry, healthcare space, whichever it is, so that they can understand all those details specific to them.
And having that sort of system sounds like it would definitely give your clients sort of, like you said, that breath of fresh air, and also that confidence knowing like I'm getting something very specific, someone with these expertise. And also whenever they're trying to communicate with your company, like they know they're talking with someone who knows this, not someone who's wearing 10 different hats.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's that relationship with the account manager is so vital to our success as well as our clients, is that they have a trusted insider. We call them almost our brand insider on behalf of the client. Like, they're going to advocate for that client, and they're going to say, hey, and we it's a little bit contrarian, but we want our account manager to come back to us and say, hey, this might be working really well. Maybe the advertising is overperforming. It's better than they can imagine. But I want our account manager to come back to us as a team and say, hey, we actually need to stop advertising because the supply chain is delayed and they're about to run out of inventory. So why would we pay for that company to run out of stock when we could instead slow down sales just a little bit to help bridge that gap? So it's like, that's a really nuanced little thing, but we need someone who understands our client's business really well to then come back to our subject matter expert who's supposed to grow the business through advertising and say, you're doing a great job. And for everybody else in our portfolio, makes complete sense, but not today for this brand, for this product, because of very real world problems like a supply chain delay, which is incredibly common for, product companies to deal with.
Okay. And so I know also it was mentioned how your companies continue to grow and scale. So where do you see your business in the next few years, and what are the plans to make that vision a reality?
Yeah, it's a great. That's the stuff that gets me really excited as well,
Yes.
is just investing in our team. I think we're rapidly growing. I can see this space that we are in is a very dynamic and constantly evolving category. It's kind of Amazon services agency. There's a lot of competitors out there, and I think there's going to be some rapid scaling, and then also some consolidation, because there are different ways to approach it. Some people are just building companies that only support one element of the Amazon industry, maybe be it advertising. They're kind of these big agencies entering the space to, our Google team does advertising, and now we do email marketing, and now we're going to do advertising on Amazon. Like, they just kind of go that way. I'm a firm believer in the importance of holding it all together, because Amazon as a channel is very vertically integrated. It's everything from the product page to the fulfillment to Prime experience. That's all very connected. And we think it's a very important experience for us to provide to our clients, that we can connect the information through data. So we want to be data driven in our recommendations. And so that means growing a team that understands data, understands the interconnectivity of content and conversion rates on product pages, all the way through to share of voice and logistics and forecasting and finance. We need to be able to speak to all of those things at scale. And that's going to require a team that's going to grow. And we're going to be consistently growing in our competency and our competitiveness in the space, because our clients deserve that kind of treatment.
And so obviously you just went over a lot about how the internal, growth and changes that you want as you continue.
Yep.
Is there anything externally as far as like, are there, maybe kind of different industries that you're not touching on or different types of clients that you would like to eventually help as well? Are there any of those included?
Yeah, I mean, on Amazon, there are tens of thousands of
Right.
brands that are very successful. So our ability to help accelerate those brands, is kind of almost limitless as
Mm-hmm.
far as that goes. I think what I would probably say is almost a more of a macroeconomic trend is
Okay.
the continued accelerated growth of e-commerce. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, Amazon and e-commerce in general are still less than 20% of total retail. I
Wow.
think that's a I don't know that we necessarily think about that when was the last time that you went into a store to buy certain things, with
Right.
everything that's gone on this last
Mm-hmm.
year. I think there's going to be some long-term residual change that takes place because of how comfortable people have gotten with purchasing things online.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is going to play out over the next decade as to what habits did
Right.
people build in the last year that stick. Are they
Mm-hmm.
still going to go to the store to buy that iPhone cable anymore? Are they going to do that? Or are they just going to put it on order? I think you're going to see that carry itself through, and it maybe somewhat challenging for companies that don't have a nimble online strategy.
And that's what I was going to say too, for maybe companies who don't have that sort of platform right now, how important is it for maybe to kind of get on this wave and everything to have that online platform for e-commerce, for Amazon? How important is it for kind of companies to start making that switch and that conversion?
I think it's very important. At the end of the day, and this is something that we like to talk about a lot internally, is we always say, like, play to the strengths of your company, like
Hmm.
do what you're good at. And at the end of the day, I mean, Amazon is tens of billions of dollars into building out a logistics framework and a platform. And it's pretty convenient to be able to buy dishwasher detergent and a workout t-shirt like all in one transaction. And that becomes very difficult to do as an individual brand on your own website, or for that matter, not even being online at all. And so
Right.
I think it's very important to have a channel strategy, and Amazon's the biggest channel in the United States to do that. So you've got to have an Amazon strategy, but it has to be consistent with the rest of the brand, because it's
Hmm.
easy to drive sales through one channel at the expense of the others if you just lower your price or
Right.
something like that. So that's where we really advocate for brands of take a big picture strategy. How do you continue to support retail, because there's always going to be a need for retail. People want to get out, they want to see it, they want to touch it, they
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
interact with the product. But make sure that your website and your Amazon experience in particular, but your channels complement that.
Right.
Because right now, like, so it's really easy to pull up your phone, scan a barcode in a retail store, see if you can get it for less money. Like, is
Hmm.
it cheaper? Well, if I can save $15 on that $100 backpack, I might just say, I'll just get this next day delivery. I
Hmm.
can wait a day to save $15. But if instead it's the same price and you're already in that store, maybe you'll peruse some product reviews. Maybe you'll go check the company's website, but you still have a chance to purchase right there at that retail store and build a
Right.
really good environment. So that consistency, I think, is very important for
Hmm.
brands to be successful. And the internet's not going anywhere. Amazon's not
Right.
going anywhere. I mean, Amazon could have antitrust problems tomorrow, and there would just be 5 platforms that would grow up in its place. This
Hmm.
idea of online, the everything store, isn't going away. That is
Hmm.
just going, Amazon's in the lead position today and seems to be, kind of the insurmountable leader, but that could change and you just see, 5 channels grow up in its place. So you've got to be online with a
Hmm.
consistent go-to-market strategy.
Okay, and so for any our listeners who have companies who maybe want to make that switch, what is the best way to get in contact with you or to try to work with AMZ Atlas?
That's a great question. We would love for people to visit our website, amzatlas.com. You're welcome to, we on our site there, go through a number of different ways that we support brands and how that
Mhm.
might fit within the company that you're looking at, whether that is supporting you and the company directly in its relationship with Amazon as a retailer, or the company maybe is considering going to market and selling their own products through Seller Central. So we talk about all those different elements and the ways that we serve brands. And we also have some great content there to help people learn, because at the end of the day, Amazon is incredibly dynamic. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you're continuing to keep up to with all the changes and the moving parts. I think that's a role that an agency and a great consulting partner can provide, is making sure you've got cutting edge information that gives you the best chance to be successful.
Wonderful. Well, Corey Thomas, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And then obviously, like you said, amzatlas.com. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.